Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG review. I am Richard. I am just introducing myself as an individual and not as a game master of any kind, because even though this has a connection to gaming, um, it's also a political comment, which I don't believe I've ever made on this channel before. But when visiting Facebook this morning, I was actually, you know, coming across several things in my feed that I was going to respond to, and then I came across the Crit Awards and their nomination process, which is already closed. But when I read it, I was just completely uh, confounded by the blatant hypocrisy and quite frankly the bigotry that was contained in their criteria for these awards. And so I literally came up with this graphic here. When they said their nominations are open for the Crit Awards, and then my tag to it was, unless you're Jewish or you support Israel's right to exist. Again, I'm not political on this channel whatsoever, but I will call out such a blatant bigotry when I do see it. And the fact that the Crit Awards are attached to Gen Con, which I will show you, it really does bring up the question of, how much harm does bringing politics into the tabletop role playing hobby really does? How much does it really do? And I feel that this is something that could really harm certainly Gen Con if they continue to support this. And it's just something that astounded me this morning. Like, I could not believe it when I came across it, and so I felt like doing this video to express, first to show it and then to express my own personal opinion on it, not as a gamer necessarily, but just as someone who sees this this blatant bigotry and hypocrisy. So, without further ado, let me the jump right into the criterion. So here we have it, and I will enlarge this for you so that you can see. I think this is the most that I can enlarge it. Let me do it one more time. And I've been messing around with this recently. Oh, there we go. So, the criteria our board looks at. So, excellence, originality, and creativity, fine. Diversity and inclusivity, unless you're someone who is either Jewish, you fly the Jewish flag or the Israeli flag in your bio on social media, unless you believe that Israel has the right to exist. But other than that, diversity and inclusivity is important to them. Impact, genre, representation, and cultural relevance. Emerging talent and fresh voices. Okay, unless you're an Israeli or Jewish or support, that kind of diversity is not welcome. Ethical and social responsibility, how our anomaly handles storytelling, representation, production practices, social awareness, inclusivity, and positive values. Is exclusionary, exclusionary politics a positive value? Not quite sure. We, the members of the board, are ineligible for nomination, so that's not important. The code of conduct. So inclusivity and respect. And this is where we get to, this is where we get to 1.5, individuals who identify as Zionists. So if you are flying the Israeli flag in your bio, you are by that very definition a Zionist. And you don't even have to be, specifically Jewish, or, you could be a Israeli Arab, you could be an Israeli Jew, you could be an Israeli Christian, you could be an Israeli Muslim. All right, but if you fly that Israeli flag, by their definition, then you are a Zionist. All right, and so you are prohibited from being nominated for a Crit Award. All right, so individuals who identify as Zionists, promote Zionist material, again, flying that Israeli flag, or engage in activities that without a doubt support Zionism. All right, so if you support Israel's right to exist, then you are not eligible for the nomination. How is this inclusive and respectful again? I mean, it is the most blatant bigotry I have ever seen put in writing for all to see, and for Gen Con to then support, as we can see here. Let me just make sure Gen Con is actively supporting this event, and this event is sold out. All right, and they must have been aware of this criteria prior to allowing this to go forward, and so they are in full endorsement. Gen Con is in full endorsement of the exclusion of individuals who identify as Zionists, promote Zionist material, or engage in activities that without a doubt support Zionism are not eligible for this nomination. No other group is excluded. All right. If you support Hamas, you're okay. If you support Russia, and its invasion of the Ukraine, you're okay. All right. You could be nominated. If you support, China's crackdown on its Muslim population, hey, you're okay. This is just, again, the most singled out form of bigotry I have seen. And so this is why I'm doing this video. And again, it's not something, and I will switch views here. To be very, very clear, I am, I'm an American. I am a, born and raised citizen of the United States. I put no other country ahead of my own. I am a U.S. Army veteran, all right, and served this country in wartime, all right, and I would not support any other country, including the countries of my ethnicity, at that same level. However, I won't just sit by silently and allow for bigotry within my hobby to be so blatantly represented in something that is supposed to be a statement of inclusion. I mean, that level of hypocrisy is just beyond what I can remain silent on. So again, the the fact that Gen Con is supporting this, or at least they did not, at their best, they just didn't properly vet the nomination process before allowing the Crit Awards to use Gen Con as their platform. Um, but they probably just sat back and, tacitly endorsed it. And so, this is a real black eye for the hobby if it's allowed to stand. And and when I say if it's allowed to stand, I think Gen Con should come out with a statement and clearly point out that it does not endorse the criterion that was used by the Crit Awards. Um, in a in a true sign of courage, Gen Con should actually say we're disassociating ourselves with this, with this award show, and literally cancel it, let it go to some other, let it go to its own forum and do its own thing on its own YouTube channel or whatever, its own web page, and do it that way. Um, it's again, it is just so singularly directed at just one group that I don't see how they could have thought, either Gen Con or the Crit Awards could have thought that this would be something that's acceptable in our hobby. And so it just, again, just really shocked me that they would do something like this so blatantly like this, and and probably feel like they would have, they would feel no consequence for it, that it would just be openly accepted, I guess. But it's a, it's something that I just felt the need to come out on. This was not the video I was looking to make this morning, and yet here I am, and pointing this out. So whether you like this commentary or not is really not important to me. Like I said, I don't believe I've ever done anything political on this channel before, and so I don't intend to, go back to doing anything political on this channel again, unless I see it as being so blatantly negative towards our hobby as this is. So I welcome your commentary in there. I'm sure that I will probably get some dislikes on this. Maybe some likes. It really doesn't matter to me. I think that it's important to to point out these things, and to make a stand, and say that this, I think, is a truly bigoted nomination process, and it's exclusionary, and it's and it's directed directed solely at one group of people, and it's just unnecessary. They really do take away from those that were nominated by having such a criteria in there. It really does hurt everyone else's, because people will say, like, did you really want to be a part of that? Part of that selection process with that kind of a thing in there. So I really do feel sorry for those that were nominated under those conditions, and through no fault of their own. But it might be an opportunity for them to stand up and say, hey, you know what? Considering this, we're not going to accept the award, or I know that's a tough tough ask to make of somebody. That's a true integrity check. But it's just something that really does stand out in my mind as a negative to the hobby, that it would allow for such a thing to take place on such a prominent platform as Gen Con. So yeah, it's a sad day. I think it's a sad day for Gen Con. I think that it is, has done irreparable harm to the Crit Awards, and their board. Quite literally, I think their board should step down and take full accountability for this wrong-headed criteria process that they utilized. So that's it. I'll leave it at there, and hope to get something more positive out on the channel later on this evening, and get back to doing actual game reviews and talk about putting together a new campaign and such. But unfortunately, this thing came up this morning, and I felt the need to respond. So you all have a great day and take care.